I decided to call him and tell him that I was just kind of like feeling a little anxious and overthinking something.
All right, we're gonna talk about emotional safety, emotional security in a relationship. All right, I encourage you to go watch this girl's video, but I'm gonna summarize it real quick for you. Right, she said she's going out with this guy. They've been on like 3 dates. By the third date, she started feeling anxious about something. So what does she do? What any adult, healthy communicator would do. She calls the guy, explains how she's feeling, and what does the dude do? He validates her and he eases her anxieties, tells her there's nothing to worry about, thanks her for telling him how she was feeling. And this skill is something that I think a lot of us men struggle with a lot of times, which is creating that safety net, creating the safe space that says it's okay to come to me when you're feeling these things. I think what our brain defaults to doing a lot of time is to hear this. And here's what they say. They say, hey, I'm feeling anxious about this. And a lot of times what our brains interpret it as, I'm making you anxious about something, or you're saying it's my fault that I'm making you anxious, which again, if you listen to what they're saying, that's not what they're saying. They're saying, I'm feeling anxious about this. Can you help me out here? Can you give me some validation? Can you help ease my worries? But it's very easy for our knee-jerk reaction to be like, no, I didn't do that. No, nuh-uh, or like, and just totally invalidate it. And then what happens then is now they feel like they can't come to you and tell you these things. Like I said, when they tell you they're feeling anxious, it's not your fault. But here's the kicker. Sometimes it is going to be your fault. I know, that sucks to hear, man. Oh God, that can cause some dissonance in your head, right? Like this is a person you care about. This is your partner, you're dating, whatever. And if it is your fault, if you did do something that is making them feel unwell or anxious or any kind of negative feeling, it's so easy for your brain to be like, no, I wouldn't do that because I care about them. I would not do that. That's impossible. No, so they must be wrong, or they must be thinking about this the wrong way, whatever. Even more important in this scenario, to remove that ego, not to have that knee-jerk defensive reaction, because it's going to feel it's not going to. Hopefully, it's not. It can feel like you're under attack. But think of the stress that they're feeling to go into this conversation. If it is your fault, especially, well, they're probably already nervous about bringing up this thing that's upsetting them. Because again, especially if you haven't created this safe space before. But it's at a higher caliber now because it is your fault. But you got to understand that is going to happen. And the way you handle those situations is going to make or break your relationship. That sounds pretty intense. I thought about saying, like, if that is like that intently, but I think that's true, man. If you can't have that communication, if you don't have that emotional safety for your partner to be able to tell you these things, and you should be able to, and it works vice versa too. It's not just a woman to man thing. This goes both ways. The man also needs to be able to do that. Both sides of the field there, whatever, but we're using this example here. You got to have that space, because if you don't, then they just stew on things, they get upset about things, and that's going to cause tension, and then when you break up, you're going to wonder what happened. So yeah, my men watching this, I'd encourage you to go watch her video, and look how happy it makes her, man. She describes how good that made her feel to just be heard and to be validated, and that's the goal, right? If you're in a relationship, if you have a partner, you want them to feel like that. I hope. Otherwise, what the fuck are you doing in that relationship? Anyway, good luck, guys.